In a newly published video from January 7th, 2021, then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is seen grappling with the aftermath of the Capitol riot and expressing her determination to hold then President Donald Trump accountable. The footage, taken by Pelosi's daughter, filmmaker Alexandra Pelosi, was originally shot for an HBO documentary and has now been turned over to the House Committee on Administration. The committee, led by Republicans, is conducting a broad review of the events of January 6th with a focus on security failures and questioning the findings of the prior Select Committee. In the footage, Pelosi is seen reflecting on the riot while in the back of an SUV, visibly exhausted from the day's events.
How many times did the members ask, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not. Prepare for the worst. We're calling the National Guard. Now, we've been here to stay. If they stop the proceedings, we will have totally failed. And we've got to take some responsibility for not holding this authority accountable for what could have happened.
I just feel sick about what he did to the Capitol and the country today. He's Donald Trump, got to pay a price for that.
Pelosi's remarks, captured in around 50 minutes of unaired footage, underscore her intense frustration with the situation and her immediate focus on ensuring the certification of President Joe Biden's victory. Shortly after, Pelosi's attention shifted toward impeaching Trump, an effort that ultimately succeeded, marking Trump's second impeachment in a span of just over a year. The footage highlights Pelosi's deep discomfort at being evacuated from the Capitol, fearing it would be seen as a victory by the rioters. Her frustration extended to the Capitol security officials, whom she criticized for failing to anticipate the scale of the attack. "We're calling the National Guard now? It should have been here to start out," Pelosi said, lamenting the delayed response. As she huddled with other congressional leaders at Fort McNair, awaiting the restoration of order at the Capitol, Pelosi and her colleagues expressed frustration over Trump's response to the violence. The former president released a video statement that evening, reiterating his unfounded claims of election fraud and urging the rioters to go home, a message that Pelosi and others found deeply inadequate.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high, but now tempers must be cooled and calm restored.
By the morning of January 7th, Pelosi was preparing a forceful statement accusing Trump of inciting an armed insurrection against America. Despite her strong feelings, Pelosi was also keenly aware of the political challenges ahead, including the need to secure the support of centrist Democrats for any further actions against Trump.
Yesterday, the President of the United States incited an armed insurrection against America. The gleeful desecration of the U.S. Capitol, which is the temple of our American democracy, and the violence targeting Congress are horrors that will forever stain our nation's history, instigated by the President of the United States. That's why it's such a stain. In calling for this seditious act, the President has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people. I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this President by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment. That is the overwhelming sentiment of my caucus.
In conversations captured later that day, Pelosi and her aides debated how to address the failures of Capitol security officials. While some urged a swift call for resignations, Pelosi remained focused on holding Trump accountable, suggesting that any statements on security should not overshadow the larger issue of the insurrection. Despite the intense discussions and Pelosi's firm stance, the footage also reveals moments of caution. She stopped short of publicly urging Trump's cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment and refrained from using the more extreme language suggested by some of her advisors, such as labeling Trump a domestic enemy. This footage provides a unique insight into Pelosi's mindset during one of the most turbulent periods in recent American history. It also serves as a reminder of the deep divisions that characterize the aftermath of the Capitol riot, as Pelosi and Trump, representing opposite ends of the political spectrum, grappled with the consequences of that day. While Pelosi's words and actions in the footage may resonate strongly with her supporters, they also underscore the complex and contentious nature of the events surrounding January 6th. Trump, who has consistently denied any responsibility for the riot, has since indicated that he would consider pardoning those involved if he were to return to office.